and see the settings that we can do for this particular audience. But when we go back to contact again, sorry, and we click on this icon again and we click on audience fields and match tab, we are going to be able to create a new field here. You can see all of the existing fields that you currently have inside of your Mailchimp account, and when you click on create new field, you can be able to add the name of the field. You can add whether it is a text, or if it is a number, or if it's a radio button, and or if it's a birthday, or an address, or phone, or website, or image URL. You can add in all of this. So if we're going to be starting out with using each of this field in here, since they have the last name and the first name, they should have the phone. Do we have phone? Yeah, we have the phone number already. And we have, do we have job title? No, we do not have job title. So I'm going to create a new field and I'm going to name this job title. So let me just copy this and paste it here. So job title is a text field, so we are going to be using a text field for this, which is already inserted. You can also add in a merge tag if you want, and you can use the default merge tag if you also want. Okay, so you can also add in the merge tag if you want, and this merge tag will allow you to be able to add this particular field inside of your emails or inside of your campaign. So you can add in something simple like maybe job title. Let's just use job title. Okay, so the default merge tag value just means that if a particular contact do not have this particular field inside of Mailchimp, what should we replace this as? So we can say want to replace this job title as sales manager. So that means if they do not have the job title for the particular contact, we are going to be replacing that particular field with sales manager for that particular contact. So we're just going to click on sales manager. And we can also set this field to required if we want, and that means this field has to be put in if we want to create a new contact. So we are going to click on save, and when we click on save, our job title field has been created. So we have to do the same thing for the company name. I believe we should have company name already. Yeah, we have company already. Okay, so when we come over here, the next one we have after company name is the city, and for city country we already have that inside here, which is under the address, so we do not need to add that inside Mailchimp. The next one we have after city and country, life cycle stage, and for this one we can decide to create a drop down in this sheet to see the number of life cycle stage that we have. We currently have all of these. Okay, so for the life cycle stage we have all of these options, so I'm just going to copy these options in here. And since it is only going to have one option, when we come back into Mailchimp and we put in and we create a new field, then we add the name of the field, which is life cycle stage. The data type will be a radio button because we want them to be able to only pick one option. So when we click on these options, we can then add in the options that we currently have into this option there. So we are going to paste this here. Okay, so now you can be able to see all of the fields that are currently available in our Mailchimp account. And to create a new field, all you need to do is just to click on create new field. And when you create a new field, you can put in the name of your field, and you can see the data type of fields that we have. We can create a text field where they can be able to just put in text or paragraph text or whatever it is. You just want them to type anything into a column. That is when you use the text field. And for the number field, you can be able to add in a number field where you can ask for maybe the number of leads they have or the number of employees they have, and you want them to put in a number. That is when you use the number field. And for the radio button and the drop down button are actually the same thing. It's just that the drop down from the name is going to be dropping down all of the options, while radio button is going to be showing all of the options on your form. And we have the date field also, where you can be able to create a field where you're asking them the dates they would like to meet with you, or the dates for their birthday or their anniversary date, whatever date field you can think of. That is when you use the date field. And we have the birthday field where you can be able to ask them for their birthday. And for the address, you can be able to ask for address type, and that is going to be asking for maybe the city, the country, the state, and this zip code also. But the zip code is only for US only. So if you are in any other place apart from US, you cannot ask for zip code. And we have the phone field where we can be able to ask for their phone. Maybe you want to ask for their partner's phone number or the parent's phone number, whatever it is you want to ask, or the salesperson phone number. And you can also ask for the website, where you can be able to ask them for their website URL, and that is going to add that in. And we have the one for the image URL, where you can ask for the image URL for a particular image you want the contact to be able to share with you. So that is for that, all of the fields. So we are going to come back into our Google Sheet here, and we're going to be adding all of this we're going to be adding all of these fields into Mailchimp. So when we go back into our Mailchimp account, we are going to look for the name, the first name, the last name should be in there. So when you go back to Mailchimp, the first name and the last name are already in there. We have the email, we have the phone, we have the birthday, we have the company. So the next one we'll be putting in should be job title, which we have already in here as a text. And we can go back into our Google documents, Google Sheets, and we can see the next one. We have city and country, but city and country already exists in the address, so we do not need to put that. Then we have the one for the life cycle stage, where we are going to be adding this as a radio button. Because we only have 3 options, we can be able to add this as a radio button instead of a drop down. But if you have multiple options, like 7 options, 10 options, I will advise that you add that in as a drop down instead of a radio button, because radio button is going to paste all of the options on the form. And if you are creating a form and you use a button, it's going to paste all of those 10 options on the form, and it's going to make your form a bit longer. So that is where drop down comes in. Drop down is only going to drop down when they click on that question. So we are adding this as a life cycle stage, and when we come back into Mailchimp here, when we click on a new field, we can then be able to add in life cycle stage. So this will be the field name in here, and instead of using text, we are going to be using radio button. So I'm going to be adding in all of the options there. I can click on add option here to be able to add in multiple options. So the first option that we have in the life cycle stage is the lead, and when we copy the lead in here, and the next one should be the opportunity. Yeah, the opportunity is the next one, and the next one is the one we have for. So I'm going to click on add option. So the next one we have after opportunity is customer, which I'm going to be pasting in here. And for all of this option, you have to make sure that you copy all of the options from here into your Mailchimp account. So we can use the default merge tag. That means this is going to be the default value for this particular field when we are creating them. So everyone that is coming in is going to be coming in as a lead. So this will be the default tag that we are going to be using. So we can also set this up to make it required if you want, and when you click on required, that means this field must be set whenever you are creating a new account or new contact in Mailchimp. So when you click on save, this field has been saved, and the next field we want to look at is the one for the lead status. So if you go over here to lead status, you are going to see the various options that we have under the lead status. So you are going to come back into Mailchimp, and you're going to create a new field, and since it's only one option, we are going to be using the drop down. Let's use the drop down now, and we can add in multiple options if we want. So let's put in this first one. Okay, so the first option we have under lead status is the new option, which we are going to be putting in here, and the next one we have under the lead status is then the contacted. Then we paste that in here, and after that we can add in another option. So we can add in the next option, which is qualified, and we paste that in here, and we can add in another option after qualified, which is closed one. Then we also add that in here. Okay, so since we've added in all of the options for lead status and it is a drop down field, we are going to add in the default merge tag, which is going to be new. So that means if a contact come in and they do not have an option yet, Mailchimp itself is going to paste this default value as new. You can also set this as required if you want, and when you are done, you click on save, and when you click on save, that field has been saved. So the next one we have on our Google Sheet is the one for service interest. When we go back into Mailchimp, we can add in a new field, and we can name that field service interest. So when you paste that in here, as you can see, we have multiple service interests. So instead of using the radio button, it is advisable for us to use the drop down button. So we go back into Mailchimp, and we add this as a drop down menu, or a drop down option, and we can add the various options. Okay, so now I have added in all of the options for the service interest and we're using it as a drop down, and all of these options have been added, then we can make this field required if we want, and we can leave it if you do not want to add it. Then we can click on save, and when you click on save, that is going to update your field for the lead, for the service interest. So when we come back into this Google Sheet in here, we have the estimated deal value, which is going to be a number field, and it is a currency field also. So we're going to create a new field, and we're going to name this, and we are going to, instead of using text, we are going to be using number, which we are going to be using to track the deal value for each of these contacts. We can also set a default value if you want, and a merge value, a merge tag when you want to add in the particular field in your campaign or your newsletter. You can type in whatever it is you want to add, then you click on save, and when you click on save, that has been saved also as a number field. So when we come back in here and we type in lead source detail, and the lead source detail is having multiple options, and so instead of using radio button, we are going to be using the drop down field. So I'm going to be adding the field name here as lead source detail, and I'm going to be adding this data type as a drop down field, and I can then add in all of my options. Okay, so I have added in all of my options for the lead source, and when I'm done, I can add in a default value if I want, or I can click on required and I can click on save when done. So that has added in all of my lead source detail, and when I come back into my Google Sheets, I can see that the last one we have is whether the webinar is attended or no or not. Then we click on Mailchimp, and we click on create a new field, and we add in the field name, and instead of using a text, we can use the radio button where we can be able to pick the option yes or no. Yes or no option has been added in. I can add in a merge tag value if I want the default value, or I can set it as required, and I can click on save, and that has already added the field for the webinar attended, whether it is yes or no. So that is how to create custom fields inside of Mailchimp. So that brings us to the end of this tutorial. Now, if you are currently moving from one email marketing platform to another one, and you're trying to decide whether switching platform makes sense for your business, we can also help you with that. At CRM Instructors, we help businesses to migrate from platforms like ConvertKit, Mailchimp, Brevo, MailerLite, and other email marketing software out there, while making sure your contacts, automations, forms, and campaigns are properly built without creating chaos. So if migration is something you are considering, you will find a link in the description below. And if this tutorial has helped you, do not also forget to subscribe, because we create practical implementation tutorials like this every week. Do not forget to subscribe, and also like this video, and also share with everyone that you think is going to need this video. And also, we have a target of reaching 1,000 subscribers by the middle of this year, and you can actually help us make that happen. So subscribe to this video, and also share with everyone that you think is going to need this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.